for coming on this lovely, lovely day, lovely Friday. I particularly like his shirt. I just love his shirt. I think his shirt's pretty. I met him yesterday at a British Chamber event, and he looked like a banker. Now today, he looks like a normal person. I was like, it's absolutely fantastic. But thank you very much for coming. I'm going to give away some books as well. We have 2 books, but this is the last book, Personal Branding. Obviously, this is about personal branding. But I give them away people to ask intelligent, interesting questions. Not, can I have a book? So do think about the questions to go. There's 6 books to give away. The only rule is you have to have a photograph of me and then post it on LinkedIn and tag me. So that's the only rule of getting a book. You're going to get a free book, so it's a pretty good deal. So please feel free to ask questions. You can ask them along the way or wait to the end. It's entirely up to you. It's quite good to ask along the way. You might be, run out of it, like somebody might have asked it by the end, or you might have forgotten it, or you might have so many, basically there'll be too many questions for you to ask the answer. But I'll hang around at the end as well. So please do try and get as much out of this as possible. This is for you. You know, we put these sessions on, it's very kind of the AmChamp to actually ask me to do this. Because I love doing this, I love the sharing part of it. So please do get as much out of this as possible. No question is wrong. Literally, I've been asked every single question you could possibly imagine, so no question is wrong. Including, how do I do Facebook marketing? I said, really? I'm not even on Facebook, so I have no clue. So don't ask any questions about Facebook or Instagram or any other social media channel that's not LinkedIn. I only focus on LinkedIn. So this is top 10 tips about LinkedIn. And I always like to start off by saying, well, why listen to me? Because there's lots of other pretend LinkedIn trainers out there, shall we call them, who try and say that they can tell you about LinkedIn. But the things that I have is, first of all, I have 600 LinkedIn recommendations, which is more than anybody else in the world who runs a LinkedIn marketing company. I also have a LinkedIn Power Profile every year they've been doing them. And they basically is awarded to 45 people in Hong Kong, 45 in Singapore, and 45 in Australia. And nobody else gets it. You get it for being the most viewed profile. I.e. you have to be either working for a multinational like HSBC or DBS, or you have to actually be very good at your job. And I'm the only LinkedIn masterclass instructor, leader, entrepreneur who actually has won the award anywhere in the world. So we actually practice what we preach. We put into action what I'm going to tell you, into our profiles, into our marketing, and I must be the only employer in the whole of Asia Pacific who wants their team to spend more time on social media, not less. I get annoyed if they're not adding connections and not sharing and not engaging and not getting their phones out. So it's very good practice because it's LinkedIn. We have to set the example. So we take over people's profiles, so I want my team to be active on LinkedIn. We also have the 2 books. This is the first book, now it's in 2nd edition, which you can buy on Amazon, which is actually fantastic. It's on Kindle here in Hong Kong. It's not on Kindle in Singapore. For some bizarre reason, Kindle is banned in Singapore. It must be too subversive for Singapore. Yes, you have to switch your VPN on, then go to Amazon and download it, and then switch it off again. It's just, why is Kindle banned in Singapore? I have no idea. No one's managed to answer the question. If anyone has an answer to that, I'd be interested to know. So you can get that book, and then we've got the 2nd book, and we're working on the 3rd book, which is basically called Social Selling for Entrepreneurs, because we have a social selling event coming up. We also have these 5 brands. Black Marketing does LinkedIn, been going for 5 years now. Dark Art does personal branding for you guys, beyond LinkedIn, but we use LinkedIn as an amplification platform. Then appropriately enough, we have Mohawk Marketing, which is TripAdvisor marketing, but in a B2B context. We take hotel reviews, for example, on TripAdvisor, put them on LinkedIn, and use the Sales Navigator platform to reach out to people who organise MICE, for example. So event organisers. And nobody does it. I was at a big hotel group this morning with the marketing director, the sales director, the CEO, and not only were none of them actually using LinkedIn, they weren't even aware of the fact you could actually use TripAdvisor reviews on LinkedIn. And you could just see light bulbs was going off, God, this is amazing. And the funniest thing was they brought in the marketing person who shared all their content on their company page. And she said, oh, let's have a look at your profile. Or the CEO said, let's have a look at your profile. Brought it up. Her position said, at her previous job. So the CEO said, first thing you're going to do when you get back to your desk is change your profile. I can't believe she did that. She's in charge of marketing. But so often, people in charge of marketing are actually terrible at doing their own marketing. So it's a common thread. We have the Masterclass brand, which this is a mini version of. We do it across the whole of the world. I was at HSBC on Tuesday, enlightening 200 employees there about how they can use LinkedIn to enhance their personal branding, but also HSBC's branding too. And then we have our fun brand. This is my Friday brand. This is LinkedIn and Tinder. So if you want to find a professional lover, not a professional lover, a professional lover, So obviously that's a different kind of profession which is not allowed on LinkedIn. You can actually do that through our service here. We basically manage your Tinder and we manage your LinkedIn and cross-fertilise the two. No pun intended. It's the first time I've done that joke. We also have this. We happen to be in Singapore in September. September the 14th, we have a social selling conference. 10 keynote speakers, 10 workshop instructors, and none of them are me. So actually people from LinkedIn, people from Microsoft telling you how to do social selling. So come along to that. It's actually at Microsoft HQ, and it's on the day the F1 starts. So it's a great excuse to come to Singapore and want to be part of the F1 as well. But if you Google yourself, what's the first thing that comes up? When I Google the lovely Cynthia here, her LinkedIn comes up. And I don't even have to put LinkedIn into Google to find her. It just comes up because the association with LinkedIn and Google is so strong. And then the first impression I have of Cynthia is this lovely blue background, which she hasn't changed since the last presentation we did. and she has obviously the whole profile. But you get a positive impression because Cynthia's there smiling, she's engaging. It's all about positive impression. When I look at Tara, for example, the president of Amcham, yeah, she has a beautiful, I love this picture here of Hong Kong, absolutely fantastic. And she's radiant here as well, and she's getting across. So it's a positive impression, it's a very positive impression. When you look at the website, sorry, the LinkedIn page, which I hope you're all following, similar kind of thing. Hopefully you are sharing, you are looking at that, you are looking for updates on the Amcham LinkedIn company page. But why LinkedIn? Well, LinkedIn has 600 million professionals, and it's the only social media platform available in China. Obviously very important for you. Because now they have, VPN is now blocked as well. You can't even get things like Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or even Google. So LinkedIn is available. It's not the same LinkedIn. You try and criticize the Chinese government in the Chinese LinkedIn and you see how far you get. It basically disappears within about a millisecond. But it is enabled you to actually reach out to the 50 million professionals in China. So for you guys, it's very important to be able to do some business up there. Now across the world, there's about 600 million. Obviously America's very big. 150 million, but places like India and China and Asia, and obviously where I come from, the UK, very much growing. India and China are the second and third largest countries in the world now when it comes to LinkedIn. This is where I come from in Singapore. We have 2.3 million. Here in Hong Kong, there's about 1.7 million. So it's growing rapidly with professional classes. And it's not trying to be blue collar, it's not trying to have a billion users like Facebook or WeChat. It wants to have professional users, and that's absolutely key, professional context. But LinkedIn's a gamification platform. Does anyone know what I mean by gamification?
Competition, one better than the other.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so if you like, everyone will use a TripAdvisor. You know what they say, you write a review and they say, have 100 points for writing another review and you're now grade 7 level restaurant critic. You think, fantastic. And they say, if you write another review, you'll be grade 8 restaurant critic. And you go, amazing, I must write lots more reviews. Of course, it means nothing. But on LinkedIn, it actually boosts your rankings. You actually get higher up the rankings if you are more active on LinkedIn. So it's worth doing that on a daily basis. It's worth downloading the app, because the app really works, very convenient on the MTR, for example, when you're waiting for a coffee or in a taxi, to do that. I like this quote now, very appropriate, as I'm British in the American Chamber. Not because I like James Blunt, obviously, because no one would admit to liking James Blunt in public. But he did say this, I'm self-deprecating because I'm British. If I was American, I would tell you how great I was. Because Americans have this inbuilt gene where they're quite happy to promote themselves. Whereas English people are more introverted. They don't really want to. Even celebrities like Richard Branson, very introverted guy, but he realises he has to push himself out there to promote his company. Absolutely key. And Asians are very much like that as well. I get lots of Singaporeans who basically do not want to promote themselves on LinkedIn. And something that they have to for the sake of their company and their personal brand. In a professional context, it's not personal, it's professional context. There's a line there. There's 4 ways we know of actually developing your LinkedIn marketing strategy that works. The first one is personal branding. It's all about you. Content marketing. It's all about the content you share, which we'll talk about. The third one's about the company branding, the company you work for. And the fourth one's about social selling. You only do social selling when you've got all the other aspects lined up. So here are the top 10 tips. The first one's about the visual impression you have. So when I show you this, you get a visual impression of the Joker. You know what kind of brand values he brings. Disruption, chaos. You know the makeup, you know the way he dresses. You know what he says, the sayings. It's a positive impression. You know his brand values. So I show you Steve here, who's on Fox Sports. He wants you to know, not only is he on Fox Sports, but he's a coach. Big style. He's an absolutely fantastic coach as well. He'll be one of the speakers at the Social Selling Conference in September. GPS girl, Karen here. I was lucky enough to meet her a few weeks ago. She is the voice on 1 billion devices that goes recalculating, recalculating, recalculating. 1 billion devices, and she creates a whole brand around it. Absolutely fantastic. But she also sings and does talks. She's amazing. Frederick here in Singapore. He does 60 countries. He's a global speaker, so he gets that across in his branding. Behind here, he is the global speaker. And that's how he positions himself. And he gets global talks across the world. He's very big in America. So don't do things like this. Because as much as I might aspire to being George Clooney one day, I am not. So I can't use his picture. And if this guy walked in this room today, we'd all be running out. Headless people don't really work on LinkedIn. There's one called a Facebook photograph. This is where you're having a great time, the partying town of Hong Kong. Somebody says to you, dress as a panda and let's take a picture and put it on LinkedIn. You're half drunk in a KTV bar, you think, why not? So then you wake up in the morning and go, oh, that's why not. Don't do that. Well, this. Which one's Melita? Me, my name Mo. How do you create a relationship with someone you can't even see? And don't use parrots or cockatoos or lions or tigers. It has to be about you. It's your presentation. It's your personal brand. And this guy couldn't decide, so he put all his pictures in. Just so you can see it. And Elizabeth here went the full Tinder look. This is their Tinder picture. She put it on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, she happens to be the human resources manager at the Hyatt Hotel Group. Not a small group and not a small role. And don't do things like this. People think that they're ironic by hiding their face. It's like it's not clever. That's more like a Facebook picture. And don't do this. Especially if you're in China. It's quite the career limiting if you know about your LinkedIn page in China. So your overall brand's very important as well. Who's here seen Breaking Bad? Yes, Breaking Bad. So you all know that Walter White is here. Walter White here. Started as a chemistry teacher, a failed entrepreneur. And then he grew into a massive entrepreneur. The trouble was he was dealing drugs and killing lots of people. But he grew from Walter White to Heisenberg. And there's a great part in, I think, Series 6, where he says, say my name, and they go, oh my God, you're Heisenberg. It's the power of a name, it's the power of reputation, it's the power of personal branding. You all have personal brands too. People have impressions when you speak your name, when you say who you are. It often begins with the headline here. You're in charge of your headline. I kind of extend my headline slightly, but you're in charge of it. It's all keywords. It's all positioning you. We use the only CEO with a mohawk or the most recommended entrepreneur. We're using the recommendations, for example, on the black marketing brand. It's keywords, keywords, keywords. And you have to think about your keywords. We change it quite a lot. So this is my team, but we change it often to the Social Selling Conference coming up. We change this too. So these are all advertising. And they're free. You can change on a regular basis. Your background picture, for example, your headline on a regular basis. Whenever you share something, it comes up. So it's really, really, really important you think about how you describe yourself, because it follows you around everywhere on LinkedIn. There's nowhere on LinkedIn your headline does not appear. It appears everywhere. It even appears when people tag you. So if you tag me, you tag this presentation today, it'll pop up. It'll say, Chris Reed, whatever I've got is my presentation now. So basically it's very, very powerful because then everyone else can see that. When Stacey shared it, really, really powerful. When it comes in search, you can see the difference between the two of us. So it's all keyword, keyword, keyword. It's phenomenal. And then you can appear in other people's profiles. You can see Frederick here, you can see me, you can see some bloke called Bill Gates. But it works in terms of branding, branding, branding. How else do they know what I do if I don't put it down here? Because a lot of people don't know what people do. So you've got to basically put it there. Mike Nacky here, I love the way he does this. The coolest guy in Nashville. Google it to see for yourself. So we did, and he is. Brilliant! Your background picture's phenomenal. I love what Jane's done here. Humility is the new power. She's on stage. She's got her book out there. Simple, effective personal branding for entrepreneurs. Helen here does books. She produces books for you. So she's put all her authors, all her books up there. Very simple. Dr. Jeff here is a photographer for National Geographic, so he's got a beautiful picture from National Geographic. Getting across his trade, getting across his personal branding, and his brand is at the same time. It's lovely. The mobile edition's different. LinkedIn's not dynamic, unfortunately. So whereas on your profile the picture appears over here, on mobile it appears here. The problem is, half the people that actually view your profile are on mobile, and half of them are on tablets. So you can't even prioritize. So you have to basically adapt. So it's very one of the annoying features of LinkedIn, but you need to think about what it looks on mobile and on tablet. So don't do things like this. Lonely and younger. And we try to find her because she lives in Singapore and she's on that playground all by herself, swinging on that swing all by herself. Human being. Albert felt the need to put human being now. As if someone's going to do a search on LinkedIn going, you know what I need now is a human being to talk to. Dave K, executive demigod and Miracle Health. Sorry Dave, that's not a picture to sell Miracle Health. Needs to be George Clooney. Shelley Shower, wife of Stephen Shower. Who does that? Especially as Stephen did not reciprocate. Look, Stephen has not got husband of Shelley Shower. Why not? Because Dale has. Dale's got spouse of owner of Picosa Mexican restaurant. He has no status by himself. He's just going out with someone who owns a dodgy restaurant here in Hong Kong. Lecturer at retired and enjoying time with the family. Does he look like he's enjoying time with the family? No, he'd rather be back at work. And I like this. This is a great example of what not to do. So Sean Say here, when I was researching HSBC, I came across this, going, wow, fantastic, I'm connected to the CEO of HSBC. Brilliant. And then looked at his experience. He's not the CEO of HSBC. He's the head of digital experience. Now, so you cannot claim to be the CEO of HSBC if you're the head of digital experience. So don't lie on your LinkedIn. You tend to get found out. Now you've got to complete your profile. So your summary and your experience section is really, really important for keywords. Really important. So you have 3 lines to really sell yourself here, then you say show more. And you need to put lots of content in. So video content, links to your website, link to your YouTube, your SlideShare. All those content needs to be put in there because that's part of your personal branding. And then it encourages people to look at the whole summary section, for example, and then view videos. And you can view videos on LinkedIn, in the app, and on the website. So it's really, really effective. And the experience section should be the same as your LinkedIn company page. There should be actually brand consistency. All your employees should actually have the same description. Otherwise what happens is people describe what they do in your company and not what your company can do for other people. Really, really important to get that across. And then put your links into your YouTube, your website. Very simply done. And then tell other people what else you do. So I lecture at NUS in Singapore. I'm a Business Times contributor in Singapore. And I mentor SMU students and put all that on. Build up your personal brand with experience. Add your recommendations. Add your skills. Add your accomplishments, your honours, your awards. Tell people where you are. That's what LinkedIn's for. Lots of people here will travel. I travel quite a bit. So when I go to Melbourne, put Melbourne here, Melbourne there. Sydney, Sydney there, Sydney there. Auckland, Auckland. Hong Kong, Hong Kong. And then even my experience now, I added experience of the talks I was doing in Hong Kong, for example. So let people know you're here, because then people, or wherever you are, then people can actually find you. Don't do things like this. A lifelong passion for problem solving. What's that mean? Nothing. Doesn't describe anybody, it's not different. Everyone here solves problems. Business leader. Again, what's that? It's not personal. Every single person here is a business leader. Take some time to describe yourself. I love this one here. This is the Love Doctor. There's Love Doctors on LinkedIn. And he basically sorts everything out. Husband-wife disturbance, convince parents for love marriage, an affair, other person. I didn't get that one. How do you have an affair by yourself? Get your lover back. And I like the way he sorts all your problems out. He's a Love Doctor. So he sorts out your divorce, your business, and your study problems at the same time. He's amazing, this guy. But I like this service right at the bottom. It's real niche. Be free from enemy, /second wife. That's a niche business, isn't it? Second wife. I love this here. Peter here is out of work. So LinkedIn, tell me that Peter is celebrating a work anniversary. 4 years of out of work. Congratulate him! Can you imagine how many people just went, congrats, congrats, congrats? Just go, I'm out of work, stop congratulating me. And don't do this. Don't be endorsed for PowerPoint, Excel, and telling the time. Don't do that. And you guys can use this. I can't. I'm English. I can't be endorsed for awesomeness or general awesomeness. I have no idea what the difference is. You American, maybe you can tell me what the difference is between the two. I have no clue. Now, SEO is really important on LinkedIn. You can all check out your weekly search appearances. That's how you organically are optimized on LinkedIn. Everyone can check it out. Won't surprise you know that's the highest in the world, because that's what we do. We optimize our profiles. What's yours? Now you can basically hack the system of optimization by adding in some positions. So I have about 153 positions at the moment. I'm very busy, as you can tell. But it's optimizing the basically the LinkedIn algorithm. So I, for example, put in the fact I'm a founder at Social Set in 2018. But I also put the fact that I lecture and I do mastery classes in Sydney, Melbourne, London, Zurich, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Singapore, anywhere. Because if you do a search for a LinkedIn master instructor in Sydney, and I'm not noted in Sydney, you won't find me. So because I do lectures down there and here and Shanghai and Singapore, they're all on my profile. So it enables people to find me. Because LinkedIn's optimization, but it's organic. You have to look at where people are looking, how they're looking. So if you do things in, say, Shenzhen or Shanghai or Beijing or Guangzhou, put on your LinkedIn as separate cities. So think about doing that, it'll optimize your profile. And then in terms of hashtagging, if you put personal branding in, for example, make sure the things you want to be known for, you put in your title. So you can see here, 65,000 results, personal branding, I put top. So you've got personal branding there and personal branding there. If you don't put your keywords into your headline, you won't be found. So only you can do that. Same thing with content. But personal branding and content comes up because I hashtagged personal branding. So when you post something on LinkedIn, hashtag it. Because hashtags work on LinkedIn just like they do on places like Twitter. So it works phenomenally well. And now LinkedIn are providing you with extra hashtags. So actually there's no excuse, they even help you. But you can also add your own hashtags to it too. So create a content marketing plan. LinkedIn believe this, 411. This is basically, do not just post about your company all the time. Post about other things to engage, like having a conversation with somebody. If you just went on about your company all the time, they turn away. Talk about their family, talk about their friends. The same thing on LinkedIn, but in a business context. So LinkedIn believe there should be one hard sell post. So if I talked about what black marketing do, that's a hard sell post. One soft sell post, if I started talking about personal branding or content marketing, it's not selling my service directly, but it's indirect. And then 4 unrelated posts. So if I post something about Hong Kong, or for example, Carrie talking to Sophia at the conference the other day, or the mayor who got up to talk about smart cities in Pittsburgh, I'm sharing stuff that's relevant to my audience, is interesting, but I'm not selling my company. So that way, when I hit somebody with a hard sell post, they're more likely to see it. Otherwise, what people do is they will unfollow you or will hide your feed, and you won't even know. So you run the risk of actually nobody seeing your content at all. So really think it through. And now LinkedIn have basically optimized short posts over articles, but articles are still important. Yes, question?
Question. So the 411.
Yes.
The 4 that you posted, should they be around, I've heard that they should be brand consistency or areas of interest, or can they be as distinct
No, anything,
as possible?
anything. That's the whole point. The soft post should be about your industry, whereas the hard, basically the 4 post should be about anything at all. And that's how you bring people in, because they might be interested, for example, in Hong Kong innovation, but not directly interested in your business, but then you basically market them and they become interested in your business, they see it. They're more likely to engage, want to see your posts. Just mix it up. Yep.
Does this apply to, like, if your company has a LinkedIn spot, do the same rules apply if the company's doing posts?
Very good question. I've got some company examples going on, but yes. The worst company, any HR directors in the room? No, good, okay. So the worst company pages are when HR take over a company page. Because they're in HR for a reason, they don't know anything about marketing. So, I've got lots of examples about all they do is post jobs. As in, we have a job, we have a job, we have a job. It's like, who cares? I want to know about the ethos of that company, the strategy of that company, the leader of that company. So the best pages, like Marriott, for example, actually share about work-life balance, about productivity. They're not talking about their hotel down the road. So it's the same rules apply. How do you present that particular brand in a business context? And more importantly, get people to share. Because if all you're doing is posting jobs, say Marriott do it, say you were doing a job, and they said we got a marketing assistant in Tampa. It's like, why does anyone care in Hong Kong? They don't. Whereas if you talk about work-life balance, everyone's interested, and people are quite happy to share. So it's relevancy. So yes, it applies to company pages too. Yeah.
Can you just say a little bit more about algorithms and articles? Did you say that they are not being as favoured as short posts?
Correct. Articles basically are now being slowed down, put down, where short posts are now much higher. I've got a couple of examples of that coming up.
Do we have to purge the posts that are no longer relevant?
No, don't do that. No, don't do that. Because it builds up your algorithm. It builds up your credibility. So now it builds up in terms of how you optimize your profile. So a great example is Christy. Everyone's follows Christy. She's really, really good. She basically posts things. She's on CNN. I'm sure you've seen her. But she posts some really interesting stuff. And it's a good case study in terms of what not to do and what to do. And what LinkedIn followers think is good. So she will post serious stuff. Beyond Plastic, 64 likes. Guatemala, 39 likes. Well, that's really transformed when she starts posting personal stuff. So when she posted about Anthony Bourdain, or when she posted about Kate Spade, 500 likes. People are interested in what she thinks from a business perspective, from a personal perspective. Her biggest post, this one here. It's been one fine weekend with a picture of Hong Kong. It's got 1,000 likes. It just goes to show that in a business context, people are interested in her and her personal branding, and they want to engage with her in the same way they want to engage with you. So don't just do your company stuff all the time. I did this one last time I was in Hong Kong. I was in Ritz-Carlton, and my room wasn't ready, so I went to the manager and said, "Look, I've got meetings. I need some space here." She said, "Oh, sorry about that. Come into our boardroom. You can have the boardroom for free." I thought, wow, fantastic. And not only that, they said you get the boardroom for free all week. Wonderful. So I did a post at the end of the first day. Talked about customer experience and customer service, which Ritz-Carlton is big on. So I did this fantastic picture of me in the boardroom at the end of the day. Day later, 54,000 views. But more importantly, Rico de Blanc, here in the white, obviously I'm in the black, he's in the white, and saw it. He's the chief executive of the group that owns the Ritz-Carlton. And then he said, "I need a meeting with you." That was an amazing piece of content. And so as a result of that picture, a result of this picture here, Rico became the client, the Ritz-Carlton became the client, the W became the client, the Ritz-Carlton in Shanghai became the client. One piece of content marketing, one picture. So think about that. And that picture did not even sell our service. Yeah.
So a couple of questions, Chris. So, would this be called as a hard sell or a soft sell? Are you selling?
That's no sell. I don't even mention my company.
Okay.
So I'm not. That's one of the fours. That's not the one or the one. That's the four.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because that just basically shares my experience.
Right. Second question is, I see you've got a premium account, right?
Yeah.
So how much of this translate to having a premium or a non-premium account?
Every single tip here is you can do for free.
Okay.
There's only one tip, which is tip 10, how you socially sell. You need Sales Navigator.
Got it.
So everybody else can do everything else, but you need Sales Navigator to do the sales part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a marketing expert, so it might be a dumb question, but if you did hashtag Ritz-Carlton, what did their marketers do basically to find this post?
So basically, because it went viral, because it ended up with 54,000 views, 412 likes, 35 comments, everyone in Hong Kong basically saw it. So Enrico saw it because he was on LinkedIn, and then it popped up and went, "Oh, Chris is in my boardroom."
But if it wasn't viral, like basically if you did that,
Yeah.
you wanted to make sure Ritz-Carlton saw it.
You would then hashtag it, and then I didn't expect it to get 54,000 likes a little bit, you give it 1,000.
Would that come up in a, does content post on LinkedIn come up in a Google alert search? So if
It does. It comes up if you post an article, it comes up. Not so much the short post, but the long post do, yeah.
So if you had a Google alert for Ritz-Carlton, that would not show up?
No. But it wouldn't be a long post. So the example which people can identify with who also live in Singapore or have been through Terminal 3. So think about spontaneous things as well. When I basically was crowdsourcing my logos, I put on LinkedIn. 2 reasons. One, it created awareness of a new company coming out, so I was selling but not selling. But also then I got other people's feedback. Because I might think the logo is great, nobody else says, "No, go for this logo instead." So we had really weird ones like that one, and mainstream one like that, and we ended up with that one. So getting feedback is really important. And then obviously video. Video is now the key. So post videos. Videos is phenomenal on LinkedIn now. I've done a few tests on this. So I put it on YouTube. We moved into a new office a couple of weeks ago. We're expanding, about 30 people now. And we've got our own floor. I put on the video on YouTube. I got stunning 35 views. Really impressed with that. But I don't know who those people are. Because on YouTube, you cannot see who those people are, where they work, who you both know, their content marketing strategy, nothing. Same video on LinkedIn. It's got about 19,000, 20,000 views now, but 77 comments and likes. I can see every single person who comments and likes. And I can also see every single person who, as a result of viewing the video, viewed my profile. So I get the data. I can then socially sell those people and say, thanks for viewing my profile, or thanks for commenting, thanks for liking. How can we help you? I can't do that on YouTube. So don't just put a video on YouTube, actually put it on LinkedIn. And do it spontaneously, and add things to it. So during this post, I was adding the fact that we had lots of beer in the fridge. I took pictures of the party as well. I then took pictures of the people who sent me gifts. And then I took a picture at the end of the day with the team. And then did a post with the team, and then tagged every single person who came to the event. And then it popped up on their feed. And so this went for a week, because I was reinventing and reiterating it all the time. And it was absolutely fantastic. And then we test things in terms of, sharing things in terms of the jobs, for example. Jobs on LinkedIn obviously works phenomenally well, but you've got to build it as part of a content marketing strategy. You've got to personalize it. I love this. I love basically reading an interview and taking a paragraph out, showing people I've read it, but also picking out something that's interesting to my followers. So this is an interview with Rolling Stone with Elon Musk. And you can imagine Elon Musk's office. I don't know if anyone can imagine Elon Musk's office. I have a vision of it being like the Death Star. Yes, so I can just see him. But apparently on Elon Musk's wall, he has this quote. When you wish upon a falling star, your dreams can come true. Unless it's really a meteor, hurtling to the earth, which will destroy all life. Then you're pretty much hosed. No matter what you wish for, unless you wish for death by meteorite. And you can imagine Elon Musk actually having that on his wall. But it's good to actually share something from an article. This one here. The Wolf of Wall Street warns of impending cryptocurrency scam. So I thought that's a bit rich. So I put a quote, and he would know one when he sees one. Because it gets the point across, and people like that. Or this one here from Mark Ritson, who's a great marketing voice in both the UK and in Australia. And it quotes him in the article about his view of content marketing and what the best way of content marketing works. And he says, if you go through the 30 comments, here's all his comments, 30 comments support him, 38 people basically don't care, and 32 people think it's a toss-up. And that sums up content marketing. You've got to basically divide opinion. So if you're getting nobody disagreeing, you're doing it wrong. So it's good. And sometimes no pictures works. We find that you post something in, say, because the algorithm and the websites in places like Australia are quite slow, and India, and other places. So you might get like this one got 2,500 views, the same post with a picture got 300 views. So video, for example, doesn't work in China. So video doesn't work in places where the broadband's quite slow. Then obviously you want to tag people. So this is Andrew tagging people on Microsoft. So he tagged me because we use the Microsoft Surface Pro in our office. And then I tagged him back with a picture of me using the Microsoft Pro. So personalize it. Notifications always come up. So every time I get a notification, you get emailed. So Stacey mentioned you. And she tagged both me and the company. That's why you should also have tags and keywords in your company, so that comes up too. And then she also tagged and influenced the hashtags as well. Mentioned you in a post, mentioned you in a comment. Others like to post that mentioned you, and so forth. So don't do things like this. No clicks, no clicks, no clicks, no views, no engagement. You're doing your content marketing wrong. Or this, an article from 2014, you've got to keep it current. Or this, nothing at all. Or this, Helen hasn't written any articles yet. And look about employer branding. Employer branding is phenomenally important on LinkedIn. I love this. I love the use of colour on LinkedIn. So again, all this is free. I love the way that these guys do it. ASOP, big red background here. Every single person's got a red background. Simple to do, but it's very dramatic, very effective. Look at this, brand consistency. Really, really powerful. Apart from their company page. What's wrong with the company page? Hasn't got a red background. Simple things like that. And Jennifer didn't get the memo. She just went, fuck it, I'm going to have a black background, not a red background. And Alison here went the other way, went red and white. I love this, it's really, really cool. Simple to do, it's all free. The company page is really funky too. And then Matthew here, they have the orange circle because they're doing SEO, which is really cool. And again, everybody's doing it apart from Nicole, who doesn't want to work there anymore. But again, their company page. And you can tell this is HR taking over their company page because they've got no background. And then they have the last post was from 6 months ago. It was a job. Ironically, it was an organic SEO job. It's just so funny. These guys went black and white, very strong branding on the pictures. Same with the company page. And these guys, AR, I love the way they do this, black and some kind of weird green plant thing. This guy just abandoned the black and just went for the big green, black and green thing. But the problem was, this is Aon. Aon is black and green, they think, but actually it's not. This is Aon's company page. Their brand colours are red and white. So where did these guys get the phones from? I have no idea. I was searching for it. I think they just made it up and just decided they were going to go for a different kind of brand. So some great company shares. L'Oreal, for example, talk about innovation. L'Oreal are not on their company page posting jobs. They're not on the company page posting beauty tips. It's about company, it's about branding, it's about innovation. ANZ, talking about, do you have too much experience for a job? Brilliant. They're basically positioning their bank as a business bank. They're not talking about interest rates or credit accounts or loan applications. It's business. Marriott did a phenomenal job. Productivity. This has nothing to do with staying in a hotel, but it is. They're presenting Marriott as the business hotel. So people share it as a result of it. I love the way Qantas do this. Fantastic. Plain, obviously, and then they get to the heart of how to employ someone in Australia. Wine. Wine is the secret of how you employ people in Australia. As anyone who knows any Australians will know. It's a time-honoured tradition, unofficial, they say. Membership of the after-works drinks crew is mandatory. So they basically encourage people to get hammered on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then their second post was also about wine. So they're really keen to go, we know about wine, we know the heart of entrepreneurs, but they're not posting about Qantas flights or Jetstar or what it's like to work there. They're talking about things that matter to their audience. People matter to their employees. Emirates and Qatar do the same thing. Emirates did this amazing video, which they uploaded natively, got thousands of views about how they were making planes. Absolutely fantastic. And then Qatar took it on YouTube, showed about Ramadan. Really important for that particular airline. Phenomenal. So don't do things like this. What's missing? The Singapore girl? Singapore? A plane? Anything really. This is what happens when people don't know what they're doing with company pages. And the thing with Singapore Airlines is, where do they make all their money? It's in business class. There's 600 million professionals on LinkedIn who may travel business class. But Singapore Airlines don't want to target them. Give you an example. This is a genuine post on Singapore Airlines page. Get cozy when you fly in business class. Book now. And you really get cozy? That's worth doubling the price of Cathay Pacific or Qatar or Emirates? And sure enough, somebody came along and said, that's not your most inspiring message. Give us the sell. Why Singapore Airlines? And that post has remained unanswered for the last 2 weeks. Surely to God, if you are managing that page, you answer that or delete it, you do something with it. You don't leave it on there. Mental. This is Air New Zealand. Same thing. Where's the Hobbits? Where's Gandalf? Where's the All Blacks? Nowhere to be seen. And their page is managed by HR, because look, they're advertising sustainability managers. It's very sexy. Qantas, wine. Air New Zealand, sustainability managers. I know where I'm applying. AirAsia did the same thing again, no background, and their last post was a month ago, advertising for cabin crew in Kathmandu. Brilliant, but it's irrelevant to most of the people actually viewing LinkedIn. It's a missed opportunity to market their airline as a business brand. And look at something like this. This is a company ironically called Clickable Marketing. And it's ironic because this post you can't click on. And then this is their page. Clickable Marketing forgot to do any marketing on their page. But you've got to market your brand through the leader. It's really, really important you get that. And it's really, really important because a lot of people say, I got you to my company page. It's not about your company page. People don't follow company pages. People follow you. It's all about you. So a great example is Rico de Blanc, who is, of course, one of our clients, as I mentioned before. But people follow him. So he posts some amazing stuff. Clean office, happy office. This one here, happy employees, happy guests. This is brilliant. He's not marketing his hotel, he's marketing himself as a leader and why you should join, why you should stay there. I love this one here, what Apple learned from the Ritz-Carlton. He spent 10 years in the Ritz-Carlton before he became CEO, so he's passing on these tips. This got tens of thousands of views, 2,000 likes, hundreds of comments. Brilliant marketing. But you're marketing the hotel through his personal branding. Another great example is Arne Sorensson and Marriott. Really, really good. He really goes to town with you, moving with purpose on Global Running Day. And he gets thousands of likes and views and comments. I love this one here. It says, success is never final. He quotes Bill Marriott, because he used to say, success is never final. And internally they say, nothing is ever good enough. That's great for a hotel. They want perfection. They want the customers to want to have a wonderful experience. And I like this. He's very anti-Trump, is Arnie. You can tell from all his posts, he's just digging away. This one's brilliant. Labor Day reflection is Mata's story. Is Mata's an immigrant, but she works in the customer call center of Marriott. And he's picked her out and picked her story out and said she's the best worker they have. Amplifying the fact that America needs immigrants. He got like 2,000 likes and lots of comments saying exactly the same. So this is potentially quite dangerous because maybe he's going to annoy lots of Trump fans. But he doesn't care because he knows his base, his employees, and most people actually stay there and agree with him. So it's really important now to get that across. But you look at Marriott's international page with about 750,000 followers, twice as many as Arnie. But their last post only got about 400 likes. Whereas Arnie's gets thousands. Richard Branson's the best example. 17 million followers. 17 million followers. But the Virgin Atlantic page only has 120,000. Look at the amount of views he gets. Thousands of views, hundreds of thousands of views. So he's marketing Virgin, all the Virgin brands, through his content. But the Virgin page, 120,000. Less than 1% of people follow Virgin Atlantic that follow Richard Branson. Because people follow people on LinkedIn. People do not follow company pages. And their engagement factor is terrible. Look, 100 likes. Nobody cares. Whereas Richard's last page, 13,000 likes. So people follow him. Yes, question?
I have a question. I understand that, but how do you manage the fact that clients want to do business with you and only you when you're one person?
That's why. That's the whole point. That's what I'm talking about.
But you have a whole team, so how do you...
No, the same thing applies here. You can do this as a solo. I didn't, when I started Black Marketing, I was by myself for 9 months.
Right.
So basically, we work for lots of solopreneurs where you market themselves, market their personal branding, so you're buying into them. That's what this is all about. It's about every single person in this room has a personal brand which people can buy into.
But then when a client wants to do business with you and only you, but you can't serve all those clients.
Well, no, that's why you have a team, isn't it?
But they insist on working with you because it's your brand and it's you who they follow. That's what I'm trying to ask.
But in the example of Richard Branson, you wouldn't expect us to basically do this with Richard Branson.
Not, you're 30 people, some of us are similar size, but
yeah.
I don't know.
That's a slightly different question, but it is basically the way you lead somebody into a brand. And obviously, if the way you've structured a team, like for example, I make sure I'm in all the onboardings of all my teams,
right.
So you don't lose that contact. But obviously, I'm not managing every single account. But as you grow, that happens everywhere. Richard's not on every single plane. Elon Musk is not driving every single Tesla to you. So it's like, that's just growing. But this is still about you and about how you grow a business through you. How you basically deal with the touch points after that is entirely different matter. So it starts with the leader. And a good example about what not to do is Singapore Airlines. Again, I like picking on Singapore Airlines. I'm surprised I won't be allowed back in today. But I did a search, a Google search, of the CEO of Singapore Airlines. Funnily enough, he's not on LinkedIn. Which is a fundamental problem, because this woman thinks she's the CEO of Singapore Airlines. Mary Ho, CEO of Singapore Airlines, brilliant. But if you Google Mary Ho in terms of Singapore Airlines resources and staff, she doesn't exist. Which is bad. But everyone knows this picture, the Singapore Girl. Singapore Girl is iconic. It's how Singapore Airlines grew as a brand. It's how they differentiated themselves in the 70s and 80s. From one plane to where they are now, the best airline in the world. But social media-wise, they have a problem. And employer branding-wise, they have a problem. Because in Singapore, nobody actually wants to be a Singapore Girl anymore. So actually the Singapore girls are from Thailand and Malaysia and Indonesia and India. So they've got a big employer branding problem. And fundamentally, I believe it's centered in social media. Because Singapore girls, Singapore Airlines girls that is, are not allowed to post themselves in uniform on any social media. They get instantly dismissed. Like, no question, terminated, straight away. So you will never find a single Singapore Airlines girl, and I went through hundreds of profiles on LinkedIn, couldn't find a single one. Not one. So it's actually a big problem for them, because as you can see here, surely it's better for them to show a picture of themselves, having a great time in Hong Kong, or Shenzhen, or Moscow, or London, and saying what a great job it is they have, meeting all these amazing people, taking a picture, taking pride in the uniform that, after all, Singapore Airlines has spent billions of dollars marketing since the 70s. To me, it's an oxymoron. It doesn't make any sense, but it does explain why, for example, Silkair is their budget airline. They've closed it down now. They're merging into Singapore Airlines because it's failed. Because they failed to market, as you can see. There's no content, no branding. And it's really, this is the fundamental point. There's a lot of leaders in their 50s and 60s don't get LinkedIn, don't get employer branding, don't get the why you have to actually trust people. So I'll give you a great example here in Hong Kong. HSBC, who brought me in on Tuesday to do a talk, actually banned LinkedIn for 10 years here. They wouldn't let their employees use LinkedIn while at work. And so they had a big problem in terms of, well, they had no employment engagement. So now they've opened up the door and said, actually, we've got to be able to trust people. But even on Tuesday, I was told by HSBC to be very careful to advise people not to post too many things about HSBC. Which is like, I had the marketing people telling me to post, to get them to encourage them to post more, and the CEO going, no, we need to be really careful what we trust our employees with. You either trust your employees or you don't. So you really, Singapore Airlines should be embracing the Singapore girl, not kind of trying to hide it for me. So YouTube and SlideShare is also phenomenally important because you can transfer videos from YouTube onto LinkedIn in your blogs and your profiles, and you can watch videos in your profiles as a result of it. So use content. Content's really important on LinkedIn. And SlideShare is the same thing. SlideShare is basically a secret channel. But if you do a search on LinkedIn and SlideShare, our presentations come up top. So think about how you can use SlideShare for your decks and your presentations. You can also use something called Point Drive in Sales Navigator, which is really good. Notice one, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Great example is Godfather. You know, you doing favours with people, talking to each other, networking. It's all about that. Everyone know Kevin Bacon? Everyone remember when Kevin Bacon knew everybody in Hollywood? 6 degrees of separation, correct. So LinkedIn's taken that a step further, now 3 degrees of separation. So I'll give you an example. I've got 10.2 thousand connections in Singapore, which leads me to having 300,000 second connections, 1.4 million third connections, and 1.7 million people overall. So basically I can reach about 80% of people in Singapore. I can do the same thing in Hong Kong. I can reach 1.4 million people using my connections. It's who you know, who you know, who you know. Sydney, 1.9 million. Shanghai, 1.6 million. Sorry, Melbourne, 1.6 million. Shanghai, 1.7. London, 3.2. So it's all about having some very positive, very well connected first connections. So think about that is grow your base where you want to target people. Don't just say yes to everybody on LinkedIn. Ultimately, people buy people. Great example is Elon Musk. If you or I had gone to the venture capitalist guys and said, I need a few $1 billion to go to Mars, and I want to start drilling things and create flamethrowers and sell them on LinkedIn, sell them on eBay, we would be locked up. But Elon Musk, people trust him, people admire him. He's the Tony Stark of 2018. It's all about social selling. You can measure your own social selling index on LinkedIn. And you can measure your personal brand, you'll find the right people, you engage with insights, relationships. This is all through Sales Navigator. This is the only bit that's premium. There are 12 different ways of actually messaging people on LinkedIn. The first one is who viewed your profile. Reach out to people. Second one is very much about invitations. Don't just basically send an invitation out, personalize it. So when you meet people here today, say where you met them. I met you at the AmCham talk on LinkedIn. Personalize it. You can also use it for sales. Whenever I go somewhere, I can't email somebody, I've sent out an invitation. You personalize, you've got 250 characters, you can do quite a lot with 250 characters. You can also use Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is brilliant for social selling. And in the first month it's free, and that's about $100, which is about 400, 500 Hong Kong dollars a month. And it's really worth it, because it allows you to analyze all the data. So all the data you put on LinkedIn, you can actually search for, analyze, and reach. And it creates target lists, which gives you leads on a regular basis. Absolutely fantastic. Gives you new leads. So people change jobs, change location. Basically, LinkedIn will tell you, set the target list up right. Also tells you, for example, who posts on LinkedIn. Very important, this list here, 1.6 thousand people, entrepreneurs in Singapore, who 1 to 10 size in ownership. And I know that 276 posted. The others didn't. So if these people posted, they're more likely to apply to your message. Also, if they're premium, they paid for the service. So more people are more likely to activate things if they paid for it, apart from the gym, obviously. Open profile means people actually said, please message me for free. And then you can see shared connections. Now if you have these 4 data points, there's more likely people actually respond to you than other people. So really use the data on LinkedIn. You can see people who have changed jobs. Brilliant. Because people who change jobs tend to do things differently the first 90 days. You can see people mention the news. You can also see people who basically, their leads and what their leads are sharing. The great one here is job changes and updates. So when people update, you can actually like and share and comment. They will get notifications saying you have liked and shared and commented. They don't know you saved them as a lead. So it's socially selling. It's making sure that your brand, with your headline you agreed before, pops up all the time on someone you're targeting. But do it subtly, and you're doing it socially. You're not doing it hard. And then open profile. Open profile is fantastic. Because it allows you to mail people for free, but only on Sales Navigator. So if you take an example, if I want to market to people in Singapore, I'm going to target Eduardo. Now Eduardo, as some people might know, is the co-founder of Facebook. So he's a multi-billionaire. He escaped from America to avoid paying you $20 billion in tax. And he basically has a remit to invest in Singaporean startups. That's what the government says he can do. Pay no tax and you can invest in startups, so he does. So you can message Eduardo for free. Don't do it all at once. Don't say, Chris said, I can message you for free. I've got this great idea for an app. But you can message him for free. It's a free message. Whereas Darius, you have to send him an email. Now if you've got no emails, and you've already tried to connect with him once, you can't message him. So who are you going to message? You're going to message the multi-billion-dollar founder of Facebook, or Darius? Makes a lot of sense. So in summary, everyone knows the film Gladiator. Maximus came back to Rome. The emperor tried to kill him, but knew he couldn't just kill him, then it killed his reputation. Your reputation is everything. Your reputation lives on LinkedIn. Your reputation's there, my reputation's there. And my reputation hit a low about 6 years ago. I was fired from my job. Front page of newspapers. Almost kicked out of Singapore. Because I complained about taxis. I hadn't experienced Hong Kong taxis up to that point, I have to say. I thought Singaporean taxis were really bad. At least they take card rather than cash all the time. But 6 years later, I then rebuilt my reputation on the front page of the Business Times. And they particularly liked my mohawk, as you can tell. But as an example, they were demonstrating how LinkedIn was pervasive in Singapore. But it's up to you how you grow that. And I grew it to 600 recommendations, about building it up, particularly on LinkedIn. You all have your reputations in your palm of your hand, how you grow your business. So what's stopping you? Time normally stops you. That's why I created Black and my lovely team. Very diverse, as you can tell. I'm just off balancing all the male companies in Singapore, that's what I'm doing. And if you like this talk, please do recommend me. Thank you for listening.